my passionate and loyal Scorpio friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. A Scorpio, this week finds you quietly holding a tension that feels both familiar and heavy. There's a sense, almost unspoken, that something inside you is tangled in knots. Maybe it's the weight of words unsaid, or the echo of memories that won't quite settle. You might notice yourself anticipating the next shoe to drop, even when things seem outwardly calm. Underneath it all, there's a low hum of anxiety, as if your mind keeps circling the same questions late into the night. You want to appear composed, but inside, you're searching for release from a pattern that feels relentless. This isn't panic exactly. It's a subtler ache, a vigilance that never quite lets you rest, even when you're surrounded by people who care. There's a longing to exhale fully, to stop bracing for what might come, but the impulse to hold on remains firm. In the quiet hours when the world softens, you might notice how this strain shapes your mood. It's not always obvious in your words or gestures, but it lingers in the space between conversations, in the way you double-check before trusting. You sense that something is unresolved, yet you're not sure where to begin untangling it. This is the emotional undercurrent the week begins with, a private apprehension, mingled with a desire for clarity and peace. As the week unfolds, the 9 of Swords reveals the shape of your inner world. It's as though your thoughts have become their own landscape, filled with shadows that lengthen when the day is done. You may find yourself replaying old fears or worrying about things beyond your control. Sleep might feel elusive, not because the world is falling apart, but because your mind refuses to settle. There's an intimacy to this kind of unrest. It's the part of you that sits awake when everyone else is dreaming, searching for patterns in the ceiling or listening for sounds that aren't there. You know this feeling well, Scorpio. It's the silent conversation you have with yourself, the one where you ask if you did enough, if you missed something, if it's safe to let your guard down. Sometimes these worries are rooted in real experiences, moments when trust was broken, or times when you had to carry more than your share. Other times they're echoes from the past, resurfacing when you're tired or uncertain. The pressure builds beneath the surface, coloring your decisions and making it hard to distinguish between real threats and old ghosts. Yet there's a strange comfort in this vigilance. You've learned to rely on your intuition, to sense when something is off before anyone else notices. At the same time, this habit of scanning for danger can leave you feeling isolated, convinced that you're the only one awake in a world that's asleep. The burden is heavy, but it's also familiar, a kind of armor that's protected you before, even as it keeps you distant from the peace you crave. This week, the edges of that armor may feel sharper than usual, pressing in at unexpected moments. You might notice yourself holding your breath, waiting for a sign that it's safe to soften. This is not weakness. It's a sign that your sensitivity is alive, even as it asks for gentleness and understanding. From this inner climate, the path ahead begins to take shape. When you move through the world carrying this tension, you naturally seek stability, something or someone reliable enough to anchor you. The King of Pentacles steps into your story here, bringing the energy of groundedness, responsibility, and material security. You may notice yourself turning toward routines, practical decisions, or tangible accomplishments as a way to steady yourself. There's a drive to manage what you can, to create order in your environment, to make sure the basics are covered so the unknown feels less threatening. This impulse can bring comfort, Organizing your space, tending to tasks, or focusing on work may help you reclaim a sense of control. Others might see you as composed, capable, even unshakable. When the world feels uncertain inside, you compensate by building certainty outside. Yet there's also pressure here, the sense that you must uphold a standard, not just for yourself but for those who depend on you. It can feel like you're carrying a quiet weight, making sure everything runs smoothly while your own needs are set aside. You might notice friction between your desire for reassurance and the responsibilities you shoulder. There's little room for error, and the more you try to hold everything together, the more you may feel the gap between your public steadiness and your private unrest. Sometimes, the pursuit of security becomes its own challenge, creating routines so rigid that they leave no space to breathe. The path is not simply about external achievement, it's about how you respond to the inner turbulence. Do you seek comfort in productivity, or do you allow yourself moments of vulnerability? The pressure to be the anchor is real, but it does not have to be absolute. Momentum builds as you lean into what you can control, but the cost of ignoring your deeper feelings gradually becomes apparent. It's clear that the way you move forward is shaped by what you carry within. The tension between your need for stability and your inner unrest creates a crossroads. If you meet these days on autopilot, simply maintaining routines and suppressing worries, the gap may widen until it's impossible to ignore. But if you turn toward your discomfort with honesty, even gently, the potential for transformation opens. The path doesn't demand perfection, only presence. Your potential is not a prize waiting at the finish line. It's a possibility that comes alive when you recognize and honor where you are right now. The week's energy invites you to notice what emerges when you stop pushing discomfort aside and make space for it to be seen. The Ten of Swords appears here, not as a threat, but as an invitation to release what no longer serves. This card brings a moment of reckoning, where the urge to hold everything together finally gives way to the truth that some cycles must end before healing can begin. There may be a sense of exhaustion, a realization that you can't carry every burden forever. Instead of collapse, this is a quiet surrender, the recognition that certain worries have run their course, and that letting go is not failure but freedom. Growth in this context is not about sudden triumphs or dramatic changes. It's about the subtle relief that comes when you let yourself off the hook, even for a moment. When you acknowledge the limits of your control, you create space for new beginnings, even if they arise slowly. The Ten of Swords does not promise that everything will be easy, but it does suggest that what feels unbearable now may be the threshold to something gentler. The invitation is to pause, to breathe, to notice the difference between what you're truly responsible for and what you can finally release. In meeting yourself honestly, you discover that the end of one pattern is the beginning of another, one shaped by compassion, not just endurance. All three cards weave together into a single living story. The week begins with private tension, a mind that won't rest, a heart that aches for reassurance. You respond by reaching for stability, pouring your energy into what can be managed, building structures that hold you steady. But as the days unfold, the cost of carrying everything alone becomes clear. The moment arrives when you can no longer ignore the need to put some burdens down. It's a gentle, human process, not a dramatic undoing, but a gradual recognition that you are allowed to rest. The relief comes not from external achievement, but from the decision to be honest with yourself about what you feel. In this space, you remember that you are not defined by your worries, nor by the roles you play for others. You are allowed to be both strong and tender, to carry what matters and to set down what no longer fits. The reassurance you seek is not found in perfection, but in permission to be exactly where you are, and to trust that even endings contain the seeds of renewal. As the week closes, the tension begins to soften. The quiet you longed for starts to return, not because the world is suddenly safe, but because you have made peace with your own heart's limits. In this resolution there is comfort. In this honesty there is strength. You are not alone in this process, you are simply human, and that is enough. Actionable insights for Scorpio this week. Notice how your body feels when you let yourself pause, even for a minute. Try sharing one small worry with someone you trust just to see what changes. Return to a familiar comfort and let yourself linger there without rushing away. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I can feel what is true for me now. Each breath brings me closer to calm. My worth is not measured by what I carry. I release what I no longer need. In this moment I am whole and steady. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.